The Committee of Finance is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Senator Marvin A. Blyden. Senator Blyden, present. Senator Samuel Carrion. Senator Carrion, absent. Senator Dwayne M. DeGraff. Senator DeGraff, present. Senator Donna A. Fred Gregory. Senator Fred Gregory, absent. Senator Javon E. James Sr. Senator James Sr., absent. Senator Janelle K. Saru. Senator Saru, absent. Senator Kurt A. Vialet.
Here.
Senator Vialet, present. Mr. Chair, you have 3 present, 4 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You may proceed and read the agenda into the record.
The Committee on Finance Fiscal Year 2023 budget hearing for Tuesday, June 28, 2022 at 9 a.m. in the Fritz E. Lewetz Legislative Conference Room, Christiansted, St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. The Committee on Finance will receive testimony on the proposed fiscal year 2023 executive budget for the government of the Virgin Islands of the United States and consider lease agreements. In Block 1, the Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System. Invited testifiers, Tanya-Marie Singh, Executive Director. At 11 a.m., the Virgin Islands Territorial Management Agency. Invited testifiers, Daryl Jaschen, Director. In Block 2, consideration of leases. At 2 p.m., Bill number 34-0273, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through the Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and 41 Subbase LLC for the leasing of parcel number 41 Subbase, South Side Quarter, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Invited testifiers, Anthony D. Thomas, Commissioner, Department of Property and Procurement. Enrique E. Rodriguez, sole member, 41 Subbase LLC. Bill number 34-0274, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and A9 Trucking Enterprises, Inc., doing business as N2N Water Supply for parcel number 1-20-1, Estate Bavoni, numbers 1 and 2, Frenchman's Bay Quarter, on the island of St. Thomas, for the purpose of operating a water delivery, trucking, heavy equipment business, a repair garage, and for other related purposes. Invited testifiers, Anthony D. Thomas, Commissioner, Department of Property and Procurement. Jimenez Ashby, President, A9 Trucking Enterprises, Inc., DBA N2N Water Supply. Jennifer Jones, Esquire, Counsel, Law Offices of Jennifer Jones. Bill number 34-0277, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority for multiple plots of land in Estate Bavoni, numbers 1 and 2, Frenchman's Bay Quarter, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, including 2 portions of remainder of parcels number 1-A, 2 portions of parcels number 1A-8, a portion of parcel number 1A-7, a portion of parcel number 1-21, and parcel number 17A-7 for the purpose of constructing, operating, and maintaining wind turbine generators, any needed maintenance sheds, access roads, and also constructing, operating, and maintaining an electrical utility substation and for other purposes. Invited testifiers: Anthony D. Thomas, Commissioner, Department of Property and Procurement; Andrew Smith, Executive Director, CEO, Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority. Mr. Chair, this concludes the reading of today's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the testifiers. Today we're going to begin with the Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System. Ms. Singh is here. We're going to allow her to put her name and title on the record. And then those individuals that are here to also provide answers, we'll allow you to put your name and title on the record. Beginning with you, Ms. Singh. Okay, say it again. Your mic. Mic for Ms. Singh. Try it again.
Tanya-Marie Singh, Chief Executive Officer, Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System.
Am I right?
Christopher B. Benton, Director of Engineering.
Nedra Thomas, Chief Financial Officer.
Tanique Thomas, Disaster Recovery Specialist.
Thank you so much. I'd also like to welcome Senator Carla Joseph. Thank you for joining us, and committee member Senator Samuel Carrion. Please mark him as present. CEO Singh, I'll allow you to begin your testimony.
Thank you. Good morning, Senator Viale, Chairman of the Legislature's Committee on Finance, members of the Finance Committee, and other members of the 34th Legislature. I am Tanya-Marie Singh, Chief Executive Officer of the Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System. I am here today to respectfully request your support of $4,401,902 for the Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System's FY 2023 budget. Today in the well with me are Nedra Thomas, Chief Financial Officer, Tanique Thomas, our Disaster Recovery Specialist, and Christopher Benton, Director of Engineering. The Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System continues to be the sole PBS member station in the territory. We are also the only NPR member station serving the Virgin Islands. PBS provides its member stations with educational programming in the arts and performances, historical, cultural, and scientific areas, in children's fare, and in news and public affairs. It also provides educational resources to its member stations to support the educational development of individuals starting at the preschool level. NPR offers a broad range of high-quality news and informational programming to its member stations. In 1972, the Virgin Islands Public Broadcasting System began transmitting, and now, as we enjoy our 50th year of broadcasting on August 29th, to be specific, WTJX continues to provide non-commercial, relevant programming to the people of the Virgin Islands. WTJX FM has been on the air for 7 years. The terrestrial coverage of television and radio stations extend beyond the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British and Spanish Virgin Islands, as well as the easternmost areas of Puerto Rico. The system receives oversight by an 11-member board of directors. Presently, we have 10 board members, all of whom are current, and 1 vacancy. Senators, I am pleased to advise this committee that we received our FY 2021 audited financial statements in March. And once again, our audit is unmodified, and there were 0 audit findings. We have had unmodified audits since FY 2016, and we have had unmodified audits with no findings since FY 2018. As context, I served as acting CEO of WTJX during the spring of 2014 and was promoted to CEO in January 2015. In terms of monetary commitments through signed contracts, committed donations, and grant funding, we are up 30% over the same period last year. Our membership is holding steady. Additionally, our annual grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting increased by 3%. The system's wage reopener with the union was negotiated last year through September 30th, 2023, when our collective bargaining agreement with the United Steelworkers of America expires. Thanks to this body and the administration, we made the 8% salary repayments, and I am working closely with the union and the Office of Collective Bargaining to close the complaint filed against the system in Superior Court. We raised $270,507 since I've last come before you, and we implemented the television station's first PBS pledge drive. We've held 3 so far, which requires minimal effort on our part. We plan to do them once per quarter when PBS schedules them. Also, we're now doing 2 radio pledge drives per year, which is a more involved event. In the area of recovery, WTJX currently has 17 active project worksheets through FEMA Public Assistance, 13 on St. Thomas, and 4 on St. Croix. Of those projects, 16 are obligated. The sole unobligated project is the rebuild of our main facility at Haypeace Hill. Of the 16 obligated projects, 6 are completed and 10 are in progress at varying levels of completion. The obligated projects total $3,732,425, and we've received $631,361 in reimbursement thus far. Though our Haypeace Hill project is not obligated as yet, we have procured an architectural firm that is working on designing the rebuild of our main office and studio at this location. This process assists us in coming up with a figure to negotiate a fixed cost offer with FEMA. We were also able to install a new PBS dish. The old dish was rendered irreparable as a result of damage caused by Hurricane Irma. The new 7.6 meter dish antenna is utilized by the station to downlink a total of 8 PBS national television feeds from satellite. This model dish antenna was also installed with a motorized control system that allows the dish to be easily moved or tuned to other satellites or to send it to a stow or bird bath position to make it more resistant to damage during storms. This dish allowed us to rebrand our 3rd channel, WTJX Business. This channel, which was curated by our programming manager, consists of 24-hour news during the weekdays and DIY on the weekends. The newscasts on this channel includes live updates from the US and around the world, featuring programs such as PBS NewsHour, Democracy Now!, BBC World News from England, NHK Newsline from Japan, and from Germany, DW News and DW The Day. Additionally, viewers can enjoy investigative documentaries such as Frontline, public affairs shows, and weekly news magazines such as Firing Line, Consuelo Mac, Wealth Track, and Market to Market. We continue to grind away at improving the station's infrastructure. In March, we completed the erection of our brand new 250-foot tower at our transmitter site located at Mountaintop on St. Thomas, which was funded by the FCC. The completion of this tower was the last item in completing the FCC-mandated repack of our station from digital television 44 to 36. To ensure that our community is indeed receiving the signal strength that they should, our engineering consultants conducted and recently completed field strength tests on the newly assigned spectrum on all 3 islands. The consultants will return as soon as we upgrade our translator on St. Croix to test the signal strength of that translator channel. Another major infrastructure project that was completed is the construction of the garage, which houses our mobile production unit at our Estate Richmond location on St. Croix. I'd like to thank the Commissioner of Public Works for providing engineering personnel to manage this project. We put in a lot of work in improving our radio station. Of major note, WTJX FM 93.1 has transitioned to HD. For those of you with HD receivers, not only are you able to access a pristine sound from our NPR station on 93.1, you now have the ability to access our second radio station. Right now, the second station features classical music as a placeholder until we work out permanent programming for that second channel. WTJX FM is the only local radio station to transition to HD, giving those of you with HD radio the ability to use it. The second station is also available exclusively on our WTJX app and our website. Additionally, we installed a backup radio antenna, and we are now able to switch seamlessly between our radio antennas on our main and auxiliary towers in the event that an antenna is malfunctioning. We've repurposed a small storage area at our mountaintop location into a radio studio. Our radio news reporter, Adriana Montez, who just started on June 20th, is working from that site. We're in the process of starting up local radio news to keep our community informed. Also, we contracted a service to provide local weather updates throughout the day on radio. We've also added programs from the BBC World Service to our overnight radio lineup, which provides for more diverse content for our radio station. Our locally produced programs for television dating from June 2021 to present include the following: a 3-part series from St. John Co., the St. John Heritage Collective, which addressed 3 topics. 1, a question of language, freedom, and culture in the Virgin Islands. 2, small islands in the Anthropocene. And Kneel for the People, reimagining public spaces. These programs were aired live. Additional programs from St. John included live coverage of St. John School of the Arts Sis Frank concert series, American Spiritual Ensemble, which featured the American Spiritual Ensemble's rendition of classical spirituals, jazz, and Broadway numbers highlighting the Black experience. Also from St. John, we aired a new series, Sing St. John Presents the Senior Sing-Along. Prior to the pandemic, St. John seniors gathered for an intergenerational sing. The program is intended to provide seniors throughout the territory with a way to keep singing and learning new harmonies to the songs they love from home. We brought live sports coverage to include live coverage of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, U.S. Virgin Islands versus Costa Rica, which featured the women's national soccer squad as they competed against Costa Rica in the 4th game of Group B for the 2022 CONCACAF W qualifiers. Live coverage of the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, VI versus Bahamas and VI versus Canada, which were 2 qualifier games for the 2023 Men's Basketball World Cup. We aired a celebration of the life of Adi Otley, where we celebrated the life of broadcast icon, former lieutenant governor, and longtime host of WTJX's Face to Face. From the University of the Virgin Islands. With great delight, we endured the rain to bring live coverage of the St. Thomas Carnival VI Parade after its 2-year in-person hiatus. And sadly, we brought Sunset Jazz, a musical tribute to Eunice Tranberg, a great friend of WTJX and its staff, featuring Dean Baptiste, Marsvin David, Adjoa, Blackness, Elvis Pedro, and Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights. We premiered a new series, Justice Matters, with Attorney General Denise George, where she explores a range of topics including corruption, human trafficking, domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, and civil rights. We continued the following series with new episodes: The Welcome Mat, The Bookcase, Able to Raise, Recovery in Focus, In Conversation with AARP VI, and The Washington Report with Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, which is on hiatus until after the general election. In terms of national content, we illustrated again why PBS is among the most trusted sources for news and information, with programs such as POV, Stateless, a documentary which follows families of those affected by the 2013 legislation stripping citizenship from Dominicans and Haitian descent, uncovering the complex history and present-day politics of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We aired How the Monuments Came Down, which is a timely and searing look at the history of white supremacy and black resistance in Richmond, Virginia, the former capital of the Confederacy. We broadcasted The Latino Experience, a 3-part anthology series of short fiction and nonfiction films featuring 13 original films made by filmmakers working across various genres, highlighting the Latino or Latina-X community across the United States and Puerto Rico. Nova, The Cannabis Question, which explores our relationship with cannabis, uncovering what scientists have discovered about the plant's effects on body and the brain, including the potential risks and medicinal benefits and the demonization and criminalization that has disproportionately harmed communities of color over several decades. We also aired the following noteworthy programming: Benjamin Franklin, a film by Ken Burns, which explores the life and work of one of the most consequential figures in American history, a prolific writer and publisher, a groundbreaking scientist and inventor, a world-renowned diplomat, and a signer of both the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Speaking of diplomats, PBS distributed programming featuring one of our own on American Experience, The American Diplomat. This program explores the life and legacies of 3 African-American ambassadors, Edward Dudley, St. Tomian, Terence Todman, and Carl Rowan, who pushed past historical and institutional racial barriers to reach high-ranking appointments in the Truman, Eisenhower, and Kennedy administrations. We were pleased to premiere American Masters, Marian Anderson, The Whole World in Her Hands, which draws on rare archival footage, audio recordings, and Anderson's extensive personal correspondence to family and friends, including Martin Luther King Jr., W.E.B. Du Bois, Duke Ellington, Shirley Chisholm, and Langston Hughes, to reveal the woman behind the icon. Of note is that Ivana Udorakan High School graduate Kaish Liebert worked on the production team for this film. I also want to highlight my favorite program. I've watched it at least 3 times. Great Performances, Merry Wives, which is playwright Jocelyn Bio's critically acclaimed adaptation of Shakespeare's comedic spin-off, The Many Wives of Windsor. The production is set in South Harlem, where immigrants of the West African diaspora are living side by side with their African-American neighbors. Featuring the Bard's most beloved comedic characters, this farce tells the story of the charlatan Falstaff and the wily wives who outwit him in a celebration of Black joy, laughter, and vitality. We partnered with Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights again for the Christmas 4-day serenade last Christmas, albeit without stops. Hopefully we can work in stops this Christmas. In closing, I would like to thank my staff for their dedication and keeping our workplaces safe from COVID. During the 2 years of the pandemic, we never closed our offices at any of our locations due to an outbreak. Additionally, I'd like to thank our board of directors, the governor, our donors, our viewers, and this legislature for keeping us funded and progressive. Senators, thank you for your time. My team and I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, CEO Singh, for your testimony. Congratulations, and once again, receiving an unmodified fiscal year 2021 audit.
Thank you, Senator.
You're one of the few entities entities that come before us that can really brag and say that you're not only up to date, but you have a unmodified audit. I think that is one of the reasons you're able at times to win over the legislature. That I'll caution my colleagues today to dig deeply, and let's see how we can continue to help WTJX to be that beacon of light to provide communications to the Virgin Islands. Colleagues, we're going to begin with a 6-minute round. We're going to begin with a good senator from St. Thomas, Senator Carla Joseph. You recognize. Senator Joseph, you have a flight. I got to take care of you.
Thank you so kindly, Mr. Chairman. You're being very kind to me. I appreciate it. A pleasant good morning, senators, my fellow senators, viewing audience, and of course, the team from WTJX, Channel 12, the public station. I want to first begin my comments by echoing the chairman's sentiments. Kudos to you and your team for doing it again and having no findings, and also managing your resources with a level of fidelity and being responsible and having a level of transparency. I also want to open up my comments and also congratulate you on the work that you're doing to move WTJX to a higher level of service to our people. I know it's a lot of hard work, but I see that you are up to the challenge, and you look at it as a challenge to overcome, because you are deeply concerned and respond to that concern to deliver a high, optimum service to the people of the Virgin Islands. So I want to really thank you for that. Now, I do have a few questions to ask you. I first would want to understand, I know you're asking for an increase in your budget of based on the post-audits report on page 7, of $504,766 for personnel services. Kindly turn with me to the post-audit report on page 7. It states that WTJX personnel services represent approximately a 58% of the overall budget. WTJX is requesting a budget of $2,558,221 for fiscal year 2023 personnel services. This represents an increase of a little over $500,000 above the fiscal year 2022. Could you kindly indicate to us what is causing this increase?
I'll have our CFO respond.
Good morning, Nedra Thomas.
Ms. Thomas, would you be so kind to speak directly in the mic?
Nedra Thomas,
Thank you kindly.
CFO. So our overall request for increase is $86,312.
So this is
It is-
86 for personnel?
No, I'm going to explain that.
Okay.
So we made a change in our funding. So we have a grant, the CPB grant, that we had 8 employees being paid from.
I'm sorry.
You're not
Could-
hearing me?
you-
Hello?
I can't, if we could get the mic up a little louder, that would help us.
Turn her volume up, please. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
So I am saying that we have two major funding from the VI government and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting grant. Previously, in fiscal year 2022, we had about 8 employees being paid from that grant. We made a change so that all of our employees are now paid from the VI government grant. Now,
Before you go on, how much is the VI government grant?
we are requesting $4,401,902.
4.4 million?
Yes, 4.4 million.
Okay. And how much is the
Okay, one minute. Sorry to interrupt, but you said grant, and that's not.
that's
The
not-
allotment, the VIG allotment.
That's the allotment
Sorry.
that we appropriate to you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're
My
clear.
apologies.
Okay. So when you're talking, that's allotment. Now tell us about the grant that you got
Sorry
for.
about that.
So how many persons were being paid from the public corporation grant?
8 full-time persons.
8 full-time persons. And
2 minutes.
how much is the public corporation grant?
The grant is for 1,058,329. And
Okay. So, how much do you have remaining? Now, tell me, how much do you have remaining in your public corporation grant?
so I was explaining
Okay.
some more.
Okay.
So that's one change. The other change is some of our operating expenses we have now moved to the grant. So it's like an exchange.
Okay, and that's allowable by your grant
Yes.
officers and the grant itself from your public services?
Yes, we can use it for operating expenses.
Okay, and now I wanted to ask you about your actuals to date, year-to-date actuals in expenditure just from the local funding. I don't want to, my time is limited, and so maybe when I reach over to St. Thomas and you're still here, I could still, follow up. And so I wanted to ask you where you are as far as your funding spend down actuals for your allotment that you receive from the government. As of your most recent, maybe May, ending of May. Do you have those actuals?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, if we could get the actuals expenditures just from the local for me, well, let's just expand it out to your grant as well for the ending of May 31st this year, so we could be able to have an idea about your spending rate. Unless, of course, Ms. Thomas, knowing you may have that rate. What is your spending rate?
Time.
Our year-to-date expenditure as at the end of May is roughly 3.5 million.
3.5 million?
Yes.
Okay, and that's just from the government portion? Or that's combined?
For the most, yes.
From the government portion?
Yes, for the most.
Total?
It may have some other funding in there, but that's just a general overview of our expenses to date.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your leniency. I know my time has been called, and thank you so much, WTJX, for the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Joseph. Your FY 2022 appropriation was 3,627,111. So the 3.5 probably have some of the other grants
Yes,
that are mixed in
yes.
to your overall spend.
Yes, that's our overall spending.
Okay, so the question that she was trying to get is how much of the appropriation have you spent thus far to May? How much of the $3.6 million that was appropriated by the government have you spent thus far? So I'll give you a minute to look for that.